A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill the love of learning. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome you all for the third session of the 6-day online International Faculty Development Program organized by the Department of Commerce, Bishop Appasamy College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. I'm especially honored to welcome Mr.Terryll Fernando, our speaker of today's session, and very grateful to him for accepting our invitation to handle the session. Sir is not new to our college. He has been a resource person for a workshop conducted by Viscom Department in 2010. We are happy to have you amidst us, sir. I'm sure your address will help a lot in understanding the concepts of digital classroom. May I now request Mrs. Lavanya, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to introduce our resource person.
Good morning, everyone. It's my great privilege to introduce the speaker of the day, Mr. Terryll Fernando, Managing Director, Timeline Media Academy. He is involved in AV consultancy, training and production, photography, web designing, social media, and online meetings and webinars. Sir has conducted small group workshops for aspiring audio and video editors, cameramen, and production houses on foundational studies in photography in cities all over Sri Lanka and India. We are waiting for the thought-provoking session. Over to Mr. Terryll Fernando.
Thank you for that introduction. Once again, greetings to all of you. It's a great privilege to be able to share my knowledge. And we'll be starting on this digital classrooms and video presentation. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to just give a brief background onto some of the common programs that's available on digital classrooms. I'm sure when we Google, we can get a lot of these items. But just to bring into focus, we have many of these type of things, classrooms type of softwares that we can use, like Skype, MS 365 Teams, Zoom, Google Classroom, Hangouts, TeamViewer, so a lot of these areas. And each of us will find something that we like, that we are comfortable with, and then we'll probably work on it. For instance, this meeting is all about Zoom. So if I just to highlight a few areas, WhatsApp has been something that we have been using to communicate a lot. And it's a good small group classroom type of situation, because now they increased the video conferencing to 8 people. So earlier it was 4 people. Now we have 8. So if you have a very small group, WhatsApp is much easier to work with. Then we have Skype that's been existing for over 10 years, maybe 15 years plus. And we have seen the way it has moved around. And this too has been a good tool for us to use. But when you go on further, we can see reasons why we choose certain other facilities for our webinars and things. MS 365 and Teams is another area. Very good program, very interesting software to be used. But of course, we found it very, very limited in a sense, to bring in other people into it. Also, the fact of moving around in the whole, we don't see the classrooms, we don't see who is talking at times. So it is a bit cumbersome to move through the programs in this. However, small groups will find this easy to use and useful, because once you purchase the Office 365, the Microsoft 365 and Teams, it all comes free in the bundle. So you don't have to pay anything extra, because most of these programs you have to pay to get the full facilities. Google Classroom, another very interesting classroom facility. Many people like it because all you have to do is have your Gmail address, and then you can invite your students. You can also make the classroom facility in a way that you can put your documents up there and make it available only for those in the classroom. The drawback that I found out in this when I was talking to some of the lecturers is that some people find it very hard to log into it. No reason. It's some bug in the system, they say. When they checked out to ask how can we do it, what can we do it, they said it's very difficult and not been able to find those on any of the chat sessions. And Zoom is an area that we have worked on. Now, Zoom was something we didn't know much about. I heard about Zoom about 2 years back, but I did not get into it. And then with the COVID, we had to find new ways of communication. How do we move into groups and things? And after looking into all these areas, we found out that 2 areas I found out useful was the WhatsApp small group, which we were able to use it on a normal basis. And then it became Zoom. When we started Zoom in March this year, there were a lot of regulations in it, which we didn't understand. There was various things not functioning in it properly. A lot of tinkering around we had to do. But today Zoom has come a long distance, and it has helped us a lot in the development of it. Because Zoom had like a 2000% growth or something. I forget, it's a massive growth rate by March. I mean, they just could not cope. Skype crashed the first week it started of the pandemic, when the people could at all trying to use Skype. And then Zoom took over and it started running. And they gave us a free 40 minutes, which was a good teaser. We enjoyed it. And then 45 minutes, you're caught by a throat and you pulled out. So we had to then purchase it, but still it was very reasonable. $14 or $15 was a reasonable amount to pay per month. And for the amount that we can achieve for the basic meetings. If you want to go for higher levels, to get a bigger groups, you just pay the higher rates and you get the classrooms working. So I found Zoom to be very useful because we had control over what we could do, and we could have all the participants coming in and things. If I'm speaking too fast, let me know. I tend to speak fast, so someone just unmute and tell, hey, slow down. You're going too fast, and I will definitely slow down. But feel free to say that. Right. One of the other areas that when we check out on digital platforms and digital classrooms is we have to keep in mind the data and how much data is used and etc. I mean, another area we found, a big hurdle we found in our country was the connectivity. Very bad connections. I live in an area that has a very poor connection, and my Wi-Fi system was not working on it. I had to go on to hotspot, which was working much better. And we found many of the participants unable to log in, unable to talk. I mean, especially if he's speaking on a platform where he has to address the crowd, we found it very difficult to communicate because his connections are breaking. And then when you go into the vernacular and you need translations and etc., the connectivity was very poor. However, on the other side of it is how much of data is being used. If you look at this, we can see WhatsApp takes about 225 MB for 8 people to function on it. And Skype is about starts at 225 MB, and if 7 people join it, it's 3.6 GB for a 1 hour video conference. And that is pretty high. And then you go to Teams, which is between 300 to 450 MB for the grouping. And then with Zoom, we find that we have 99 is the basic package, and they can go to higher packages. But then they have on a one-to-one call basis, you see we would normally use the 720p. And, oh, sorry, something took place here. Right, so back again here. So on a one-to-one peer-to-peer call, we get these amounts of data that's been made use of. 720p is the normal that we use, so it's 1.8 GB, 1.08 GB that is being made use of, and that is for a one-to-one call. But if you go for a group call like what we're doing now, you see it takes about 1.35 GB for all of us who are on the group. I'm talking about this with the video running. Most of us know we offer video to save on data, we offer audio. So that's all data saving. But if you think about this area of 1.35 GB, there's a lot of GB that's going out. And this is per person. Somebody is making good money on this, I can see. But this is per person. And I'm spending 1.35 GB for an hour. Each of you are spending 1.35 GB per an hour. So data is very heavy. So these are things we have to keep in mind when we are what do you call planning our virtual classrooms. Can my team, all of them, come in to do? Are they having good connectivity? Are they also able to have sufficient data? Maybe we have to warn them and say, it's going to take. We're going to do a 1 hour session. We need to have reserve 1.3 GB of data so that you can be on this. If not, you'll be out. So we need to make some plans that is and inform our people who are involved, that is coming into a classroom, that this is going to have this amount of usage. It's like having your travel fare. You need to have your petrol or your bus fare or your train fare all pre-planned. You can't just come to the station and just try to get into a train. Similarly, in this, you have to plan that you have data to be able to participate in it. Few things on the Zoom is that the affordability of people having it. I covered that when I said about the affordability with the data. So it's not free. We pay for the data, we use it. All of us are into this. We just think because it's Wi-Fi, it's free. No, we know that we are on this level, we understand nothing is free. So Wi-Fi is also not free. Then when it comes to students, and I said the data packs that they need to, they're hosting on a Zoom meeting and sharing. Now this is where I am in. I'm sharing this Zoom meeting. And while I'm talking about sharing, I would like to say is that the PowerPoint that is here will be available for all of you at the end of this meeting. I'll submit this to the organizers. But sharing is a very good way to go on this. And also on the sharing, we can share photographs, we can share videos, we can share the PowerPoint. We can share any other Word, Excel documents that we do. So if you have a small business meeting with the different people and they want to show your Excel spreadsheet, you can work on it in this manner. So the sharing is a very good tool. And this tool has also come a long way from what it used to be. And one thing, when you start sharing on this tool, when you share a video, earlier days there, we had to go digging around to find where to share the audio, and it was not available, I think. But then later on, they had to share the audio from your PC. And that kind of helped us in getting the audio to sound better. You say share computer sound. But today I noticed that when we go on to share, already there is a tick box there that you can say, share your video and your audio computer sound. So these are all tools that are available. We need to learn it. If you're going to use it in the maximum, we need to do some tryouts, as you say, call a few friends, just try out the various facilities. And of course, there's a lot of help available for this product now. I mean, you just Google it, you get it. You go into Zoom, you get all it. I mean, with the number of users that have come up, a lot of help has also come up in this whole area. So another one is, one of the key one I like is the breakout rooms. I found breakout rooms to be a very useful one. And you can put, you can divide it when, especially small groups, when you're having about 300-400, and I've tried it in this level, but our groups have always been like 100 and less. And we had about 20 breakout groups, and we had divided people and put in there. And you can have the main classroom, like the assembly classroom going on. And then you can also have the breakouts where you get the smaller groups to go in and handle the various subtopics, or your discussion groups where you need to have 10 to 15 people or 20 people in it, and so that you can have a good discussion there among each other before coming out of the meetings. So we found breakouts to be good. Also, I noticed that breakouts do help in keeping a certain confidentiality level. See, most times the host is not the part of that meeting. We host it because we had the technical knowledge and we had the facility to host it. But we do not need to be in every meeting. So I found out that when you're having these special, as you say, closed door meetings or board meetings and things, and you do not want too many people out there, one of the things is the breakout room. You start the breakout room, you put all of them into that place, and then you can't go in, because when you go in, they see you coming in, or the person doesn't belong to that group. So in a big group like this, you get lost in it, but in the small groups, you can be seen. And especially board meetings, especially faculty meetings that you would have, it's a closed group type of thing. The breakout sessions are very good for that to handle it. And Even the recording of it is possible, but the host has to then be in the breakout group to do the recording, or one other person may have to do the recording inside it, because the global recording does not work inside breakout rooms. It's individually in that place. And going further, we have shortcuts. Shortcuts is a very another useful thing that we need. For instance, when I want to just do a screen grab, I will just hold Control, Shift, and T, and then I can just do a screen grab of it and save the file on your desktop or any other location that you're planning. And these shortcuts makes it very easy to do it. And if you go into the helps, they also talk a lot about the shortcuts. So here is what we do. In the normal Zoom settings, you get the keyboard shortcuts and a whole panel comes up. That's the standalone version. When you download that and install it on your desktop, you can run that and you can start your Zooms on that, or you can go online even and check it, or you can Google it and find it, and all the shortcuts are there. And you can choose whatever shortcuts that you use continuously, and then remember those Alt keys and Shift keys that you have to make use of. So it does help using shortcuts, because when you're talking like this and you are trying to do a various, now say for instance, I'm on my screen, I had a lot of these lines coming and I don't know how to get rid of it. That suddenly appeared. So these are things that we have to learn. I'm getting all sorts of lines coming on my screen, the red lines.
Yeah, even I'm trying to remove it.
Yeah, I know. I must have tried to remove it and I was getting distracted. So yes. I just thought, let it be and go on with it. Thank you. Okay. So suddenly these things appear. I mean, when you're teaching and when you're doing things, you're not looking at all these facilities, but you're trying to concentrate on what you're speaking. So some of the shortcuts does help, because then you don't have to be looking for your mouse, where to point it and things. Shortcut functions very well. The next thing I need to talk to you about is on the security. I would more or less, not more than using the word security, I like to use certain restrictions or to be careful with. So waiting room is a very, so when what the initial stages of Zoom, we heard how outsiders are coming in and playing certain videos and disrupting the entire meeting. Schools that were using Zoom with children in it, they're putting adult movies on it, somebody hacking and doing. So certain restrictions were not available. But today, there are restrictions that we can put. And I try to use all these restrictions when I start a Zoom meeting, so that I don't have any uninvited guests coming in and trying to spoil my meeting or messing up my meeting or making things difficult for everybody. It can be very embarrassing. Right now, we have about 340 participants. And just imagine somebody just hacking in and putting in something that is not ethical or not needed for this meeting, has nothing to do with it. So we need to put restrictions. We need to make sure that the people who come in are people who we know we're inviting. So this is important. So waiting room does help, because then you can monitor who the person is. But one thing I found out is many people, when they log into the system, they don't know how to change their name. So you get the names like, the mobile number, mobile name, your company name maybe. For instance, I had to rename my name onto, so that you will see it coming as Terryll Fernando and not some other organization name that comes in. So these things are available, and even the host can change the names to get the correct person. So waiting room also helps in those areas to make sure that the person you're inviting is one who is coming in. Then when you're setting up Zoom, there's a facility to disable password or enable password. And we need to keep the password going. I use both these factors when it comes to closed groups and to teaching material in a classroom situation, more than a common meeting like this. So I would use both these facilities to control the people coming in and to make sure that there are 2 steps before someone can try to come into our meeting. Because once again, a hacker can, if these things are not available, a hacker can always come into the and disrupt our meeting. So we keep these things going. Other thing is, let's not use the same password for every meeting that we do. Just change it. I mean, you can just make just a one change on it to make it difficult. So keep changing your passwords and things so that you can make it difficult for the outsider not to be able to come in. And also when you know there's this continuous weekly training that's going on, you will find it easy just to give one password. But then what happens? You have your number of students or your number of colleagues that are coming in for this meeting, and somebody has shared it, or someone has got to know the password, and they also can come in there. So if you keep changing the password like we did today, we just give the invite maybe 1 hour before the program. Makes it a little more difficult for the outsiders to walk in. So let's keep those things, those safeguards, so that we have our security, that we have our what do you call ability to only to meet up with people we really want to meet. So I'm saying even for repetitive meeting, just keep changing a password and go ahead. Then keep in mind there are new policies. Always there are new policies coming up with Zoom. One of the policies that came up some time back was a password thing that was needed. So that came up. So today I was, not yesterday, yesterday I was looking at it and there's another one that came up. Important notice starting from July 19th. All meetings must have either waiting room or passcode enabled. So they're insisting now that we have one or the other. One or the other, not both. You can have both or one, but you can't go without them. It will force you to have it. I remember one meeting I did, and I didn't know that they enabled password, and I had just started the meeting, and I'm wondering why nobody's coming in. And suddenly say, oh, okay. That by default they made that you had to have the password. There was no way of removing it. Now I think you can change it, but by default the password was enabled. So system generated password as well. So it's not a problem. I just took it and sent it around. But then I was ready for it the next time. When I set the meeting, I created our own passwords, because when you have passwords with the alphanumeric and exclamation marks and all this, many people find it difficult to type those in and to get they can miss out because if it's a long password as well. So we try to keep the password simple, but we also try to make sure that it's not the same password used each time. So I just ran through on this Zoom facility, and I'm not too sure because from responses or anything how to we are getting on this. So I think I'll just continue on this, and at the end of the session we can ask any questions. And I won't promise that I know everything, but whatever I know I will try to answer. So the next part of it is on the video presentation. This is very useful when it comes to lectures, and I feel that if we can put out videos, short videos to enhance your lecture, it is helpful. For instance, we need to decide what type of video we want to put out of it. So if I'm going to do a full 30-minute or a 45-minute video, it's a little more time consuming. It takes a little more planning, because I don't think everybody like to see my face talking for 45 minutes. It cannot be that attractive for someone to be watching it and then to keep looking at this guy's face at such a close-up range. You know, when you're in a classroom, you're far away, you see a lot more things. The environment is open, you see the classroom, you see the other students, you see everybody. But in this situation, you're only looking at me and whatever facial expressions I make or whatever, you can see very closely, and they're not interesting for 45 minutes. So when you're making a long video, you may want to put in the points of your video coming up. So then you would want to put in some pictures or short things to make it interesting, so that the person who is watching it will find it engaging to want to see this whole thing and learn it, especially in the teaching side. You know, when we teach in a classroom situation, we'll go to the whiteboard and we will write things on it. So, but when you're videoing, you're not able to do that. But then we can, in the edit facility, we can always add the facilities into it. But remember, long videos, you need to have, when I say camera crew, it's just a one-man show, maybe just a camera filming you, and then you need to take that video segment into a desktop or something and need to edit it down. So you need someone who understands the editing facility. So lecturers and teachers will find that time consuming, because your job is not to become the technical person to film it. It's not your job to become the editor. You have to learn editing. we had to outsource those things because my job is to do my research and do my teaching. So I need to spend more time on that. So when you do the long videos, you'll find suddenly that you have a lot of issues coming up, and that you need to come up with these areas. So then you need to plan. Okay, I'm going to do this long video. I'm going to do it on these subjects. And then yes, I'll get a camera to film me, and I'll give my points to the editor so that they can add these things in and make the video available. So it takes time. You have to plan ahead then. You can't do it over the counter. If it's a short video, just some instructions or some points that you want to take across. Pretty easy. I mean, we can just use our mobile. Even for the long video, we can use a mobile. But even for this, we can just use our mobile, make a small short video of it, and explain things in a systematic way that you want to do it. And if you don't like it, delete it, start again. And somewhere down the line, I'll show you something I did during when the COVID was in place. I had to make a short video, and I don't like it much, but I let it go. Good example for you all to use. So you can just record the thing and send it via WhatsApp or what it is, because you have to think about how you're going to distribute it. If it's a long video, you can't put it on email and WhatsApp and things. You need to make it, you need to host it at some point, at some place, either on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're using YouTube to host your long videos, you can, it's public domain. Anybody can go through it. So in a classroom situation, when I'm teaching certain things, I do not want everybody knowing my videos. So this is one of the drawbacks you'll have, because everybody can go, but you can, there are facilities there where you can make it private, and you can share the link to the people you want. But then if I take that link and share it to somebody else, anyone, that person can take it in. Or you can host that, you can upload the video over there, and then after the session, you can just disable it. One thing about Google Classrooms is that you could post videos on your classroom, and only your classroom can get into it. So that was the advantage, but then there were a lot of other difficulties. I find it, if we are going to do digital classrooms, and let's make it simple as possible for the end user. I mean, today we just share the URL and said everybody come in, and you are in and you're watching it. So do you want me to stop? There's someone raising their hand. Or can I continue? Is it a question you're asking? Mr. Welpenditi. Okay, I'm going to continue since we're not hearing anything. So coming back to this on distribution. So the long videos, you have to put it onto some source for sharing. I mean, you get all the other type of places where they can host videos. But YouTube is free. You can use YouTube to do your hosting of it and sharing of it. And then, of course, if it's a short video, you can always use the WhatsApp or email, because short videos you can put in there, and the size is small, so it can be shared. So I would suggest that instead of making one 30-minute video, maybe you may make some short ones and integrate it into your classroom situation to enhance your teaching time and material. This is one of the greatest things that through COVID that we had, is that all of us are forced to get into a media. All of us are forced into it. Many of us were saying, we do not want to get onto computers. Many of us do not want to get on WhatsApp or this type of thing and that thing. But came the COVID, and we were forced into it. We had no other choice. We are forced to get onto the internet. We are forced to find new pathways. If not, we were not able to go and to share our teachings or get into meetings or plans that once we come out of it, because all the things were not going to be available. So we are forced into areas. So we are learning fast. This is still a learning period, a learning curve that we are having into this area. It's a new area as well, but I think this does help a lot in our communication methods and skills, because we know that when there's a video and an audio going on, it enhances a lot in our teaching. Even in our classroom situations, when we do teaching, we do play videos to clarify certain things or to bring a different dimension to our teaching, a different aspect into it. We do play videos, so that does help. So here we have all this facility of this desktop that we can do it. And remember, even though we have close to 350 people on the group now, I am talking only to you. It's a one-to-one right now. I'm not addressing it to a mass. I'm addressing it to you. I'm talking to you. In fact, I'm thinking I'm speaking too loud maybe, but I'm talking to you. It's a one-to-one thing. And that is a very personal way of talking. I can't be screaming at you. I had to be talking to you. It's a personal thing. So in this personal conversation I'm having with you and I'm sharing these things, I play videos, I feel there's a big benefit in this whole area. So how do you make a video? Are we geared to handle it? So since one of my areas is teaching on how to do videography and editing and things, I thought I'll bring that whole aspect also into it to bring value into this whole meeting. So on video presentations, on composition, right? One of the key things is fill the whole frame. If you look at the way we set up our desktops right now for this Zoom meeting, I'll just demonstrate one small thing before going further. Some of us will keep it like this. And we see only the eyes and a little bit of the head and more of the roof. And you think that is good. Or you will be far away from it and it's too distant for you to understand what's going on. So the idea is to fill the frame. Keep all of us in the whole frame so that there isn't too much empty space on either side, so that we take the whole thing to talk. In technical terms, if I use some of the things is fill the frame with the face, we call it a head shot or a medium shot. That's how we have in shot listing. You Google these things, you'll find videos on this how to handle it. But basically, I'm telling you, go for a medium shot with your faces in it. So this is typical medium shot in it. It's not a close-up. A close-up will be something like this, very right up front here. And that's too much. It's too much to your face. You know, you're like blurring into the other person. So then we had the bust shot, which is a little bit more from your waist up, like it's a medium close shot. And then you had the whole waist shot. So you give up from your waist to your head, a bigger area. So these three type of shots are ideal for these type of Zoom meetings and classroom situations. We do not need the other. We have another about 5 other type of video shots that we use. We don't need all of them because those are used for filming side of it. But for classroom aspect, we can have this so that it interacts better. Continuing on this, I had also say, you know, how you keep your camera. That's a thing called the eye level. So in the phone, the front camera is over here. And when you look at the phone to talk, let's not look down, let's try to look into the camera. It's a bit hard to get used to that. Even I found it very difficult. So even in our laptops, we find the camera is set right in the center. So I need to be looking right into here and talking, then you see. But you see, I'm looking to a side because I'm looking at myself talking on the small screen. Our eyes go to that. But the eye level is needed. So this is the most common one, which keeps us one-to-one. I look into your eye, I see into you, I talk to you. It's a one-to-one basis. Then we have this high angle thing. We will not use it much because this is not a tendency we have with our phones. But the high angle is when you start looking from up here, looking downwards. So that's not something we use too much. But the low angle is something I want to talk to you about. It gives them this impression of being more powerful or dominant. Recently, I did some short videos and I said, ask some of our friends to send me the videos so we can edit it for our program. And many of them they knew how to use the camera properly, but some of them, they used their devices and they made videos. Before I come to that, wait, let me show that. So this eye level would be one of these type of things, you know, doesn't look very impressive, but I just put some pictures there and did this. So this is eye level. And then I would use this is portrait that we have on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have the wide screen. So landscape mode. So in the landscape mode, I'm keeping space onto my right so that if at all I want to take this video and add in something more, I have space to add in wording and things. Or some text or something, or some small box thing I can put into on the right-hand side because there's space in it. So that is still, I'm up front. I had taken a certain amount of screen, but also I had left room. So the low angle, it looked like this. And I got videos like this. They take their phone and they're making their message, and this is how it looks. It doesn't look nice at all to have a thing like this. Here's another one. And we are the senior people, we have the double chin, and we'll be showing a lot of our double chin. And that's not attractive at all. So The low angle doesn't work at all. So we need to keep the camera up here. The high angle is when you keep the camera up, right up on top like this. But this is the one-to-one, you look at it like this. And then the low angle comes when you keep your phone like this and you keep talking. And that gives you this particular one of the under your chin type of shot. So you need to compose your picture properly to make it look good. So that even here, when I'm talking to you, I'm trying to see that my hands are in the frame so that you see that I'm handsome. But if I keep my hands out and keep talking, you won't know it. So you need to set your screen and you set your camera in that manner so that your hands movement can be seen. And when you talk, that your hand is in the screen so that you can see what's happening. And then the person sees it. And if I keep talking like this, you can see my hand is going out and doesn't mean anything. Just see an elbow going on. But this would mean something if I'm going to say things. So sometimes I want to say 1, 2, or 3 things. And then our hand is outside, I'm saying 1, 2, or 3, and it's not been seen. So learn to compose your picture in a way that it comes into the screen. So here's a short video. This is just 59 seconds. I did this during the COVID. I had to send this out. No edit. I just recorded it. You can see not shared and things, but anyway.
Hi. Let's try using landscape mode for videoing. Let's look at the camera eye for the eye contact. We will also use we can speak loudly so that the environmental sounds will be cut off. Before you start, take 2 seconds and smile into the camera and then start your conversation. We'll also keep the camera on a steady position, like on a set of books or using if you have a tripod or any stand that we can put the camera onto, let's use those. You can always move out of the camera like this, or you can move into the camera, keep looking at the eye. And for emphasis, you can get closer. This way your camera doesn't shake and only you're moving. And if you want to use hand movements, you can always use your hands. Thank you.
Right, so that was a short video I did to give, because I needed some video recordings to come in for a program that I was doing, and people asking how should we do this. And I was working with people who do not do any filming. They are just lay people who, I had to say, and also we had no cameras. We had to use what we had in our hands. COVID forced us. I mean, in Sri Lanka, it was a total lockdown. We were locked in for, I've forgotten now, 30 days, I think. We could not step out for any reason. I know most of in India and other countries that they were able to move around, but we were not allowed to move around even. So we could not get in, we could not go to office place to get our equipment to come in and do things. So we got stuck with whatever tools we had in our hands, and we had to make use of it. And since our phones were the best item, so we thought, I gave instructions how to use the phone for this particular thing. And we need to concentrate when it comes to audio about the environmental sound. Dogs in the background, crows, birds, they can be dominant because those are high-pitched voices, tones that comes through the mic than our normal voice. High pitch will just cut through. If you are in a room and then outside there's some other classroom going on and you can hear people talking, that comes through. You have to see how you can not use those, let those things come in. So phones ringing, all those type of things are a distraction when you're doing, especially when you're filming it to use for later. Those are distractions that is going to find it very irritating because it'll drown the word that you're saying, the particular word that you're using, especially if you're giving a certain word regarding a certain item, which is not very common and it's difficult to understand. And then you have this environmental sound coming and drowning it, it doesn't help. So the other one is when you are recording in a closed room situation, your air conditioner could be running. That is a dominant sound. You will hear that the air conditioner running in the background. So sometimes you need to, I'm talking this for recordings more than for this meeting. You may need to off your AC and things so that the sound doesn't come through. The other one is when you're using a mobile phone, the distance you keep is the further you get away from the mic, the more room you leave for environmental sounds to come in. So you have to play the thing because phone you can't get it close because then your picture will go out. So you have to learn to keep the distance whichever that works better. But project your voice. Project your voice. Speak louder because nobody is hearing. Speak louder. Project it, and then that will help. So if you are a person with soft voice, it's going to be very difficult because you're going to be speaking so softly. that nobody's going to hear it. And I'm sure you're struggling to hear it as well, what I'm saying. So the distance is important. Using the hands-free, I'm using the hands-free to listen to talk to you. This is good for this communication, the hands-free. It works very well. But I noticed that when I use the hands-free for the recording, it doesn't work too well. It gives you a broken voice noise that comes in. I can understand why. This is clear, but on the recording, it doesn't work out well. But the mic on your mobile phone is much better than the hands-free, unless you have a really very good hands-free. But the mic on this is very much better. It gives a better sound quality. And when you bring that recording into a studio environment, you hear the difference, which is they are from the hands-free to the mic from the phone. So you have to play the tools that I'm saying, speak loud and clearly. So I think I have spoken sufficiently. There's about 15 minutes more. And if there are any questions, we have said to write it into on the chat for the host, and they will present these questions, which I could take up.
Thank you, sir, for giving your valuable insights on digital classroom. Participants, if you have any queries, you can post your questions in the chat box.
Okay, I'm going to go out of this presentation now. I think we are done with it.
So a few persons have raised their hands to ask questions.
Yes, we could do that as well, so that we could do that. I'm not seeing all the participants. That's my issue here. It's not opening out. Let me just see it. Right, so I see about 4 people have raised their hands.
Shall I unmute them?
You can unmute them one by one so they can ask.
Yes. Shoti, you can ask your question. Mr. Vel Pandey. Kindly ask your question to sir.
Let's move a little faster so that.
Yeah, there is a question.
Yes.
They have asked whether you can suggest any video creation software manual for classroom purpose.
A video?
Video suggestion. 1 minute.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not understanding.
Just a minute. Participants, if you have any questions, kindly post it privately to me or to sir, because we are not able to view all the chat. It is very fast also.
If I understood regarding the first one, regarding the video,
Okay.
if you're trying to ask what type of softwares to use, there are many software. Windows itself gives you certain softwares. So you could use those because those are all free softwares, and we are looking at just basic editing. If you want to do, we are not trying to do a video for broadcast. We're not trying to put it on television. We're not trying to do it for for various bigger items. We're not looking for the quality. We're not looking for 1080p quality. We are looking for basic. So most of these softwares are free. Windows has a lot of softwares. Mac has its own software, which you can do the basic editing, cutting certain areas out, so that in case I made a mistake, I want to cut that section, I can cut it off, trim it, bring it back in. And it's pretty basic, which you can handle it. You can do a title into it and then export it out. And all these have tutorials. All of this is available on for us to read onto it. Yes, sometimes you may need a little help, but then there are people who can do that. So these softwares I use a software called Vegas, Sony Vegas, and I've been using that for the last 15 years. I started with version 2 or 3, and now today it's version 16 or something has come on. So I use this software, and I found it pretty helpful for me because I got used to it. And you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I don't try to learn new softwares. When the younger generation, they will probably go into newer ones and try out and become a little bit more. Premiere is another software. That's very heavy. A lot of things to remember. That's very good if you're using that for what you call for some video editing facilities that you want to do a production for your TV or for the DVD that you're making. So you can then use that. That's not a problem. But basic is good. It helps. Basic is good. So I don't know if that was one of the questions, but I just thought I'd add that in. And
so there's another question. A participant has requested a mobile apps for video editing.
Sorry, I'm not going to mobile apps. I find the screen too small to work with, and there are various apps that you can download and try. I have not tried it. I have found that very helpful to me. I like to have my hands onto the desktop and work with the mouse and the keyboard and shortcuts that I can work with. With the mobile app, I found I tried it one time, then it did not really work out for me. But I know some people find that very easy, and I have seen people working on it. But I'm sorry, I have not looked into any other apps. But then you can check reviews when you search. You can check reviews. They'll tell you the plus and the minus of it. And one of the biggest problems I faced with a lot of these apps is that there's so many advertisements that come in between and just fills up your screen, and then it takes more time for me to really work on it. I'm sorry, I can't help you on a mobile app. The PowerPoint I did will be available for you. I see someone comment coming in here. PowerPoint I did will be available. So your host will be sending it. As soon as I finish this, I will export it and send it.
And there is one more question.
Yes.
I'm a teacher and I want to learn some creative way to proceed Zoom by Android. Please teach how we use videos on Zoom.
Right. So I think you're basically asking how to learn video on Android, your mobile. Even the mobile you can share. You can share your pictures, you can share your video, you can share your PDF files on it. PowerPoint also works on mobiles, so you can share it on there. So one of the key things is, how do I make it interesting for the student? That's the key thing. That's end of the day, that's what is it all about. Like I told you, you don't want to see my face all the time. You want to see something else happening. So the key thing is then using the PowerPoint. So to use PowerPoint, you need to plan ahead, work out what your structure is so that you can put in the points there. Bringing in pictures to enhance your story, right? So bringing in videos, like I did a small short video which took you from this environment to an outdoor environment where I was in. So I just took you to another place and brought you back in, which you can't do in a normal classroom situation. It only happens in this virtual type of thing. But it's all planning. You need to plan ahead. You need to know that I'm going to do this lecture and I need to prepare for this lecture. So I need to have all the steps into place. Then I'm going to look at it and see, is it interesting for me? Or am I just going to do it for the sake of doing it? Is it interesting for me? If I'm interested in my own lecture, I'm sure my student will be interested. So I hope that helps that question.
Can we take one more question?
Yes.
One participant has asked, is it possible to make a video on PPT?
Yes, you can do that. You can put your slides in, you can do the animation to your slides, and you can put a music background to it, and then you can export it as a video. That today that facility is available on PowerPoint, and it's pretty useful. You can do that. Any other questions?
They are appreciating your session, sir. They've said it's very useful for them.
Thank you.
And there's one more question. Sir, can you suggest any application to prepare the video lectures in the recorded format?
Like I mentioned, the video, sorry, I think I lost you there. You're talking about preparing a video, right?
Yes, recorded session.
So filming a radio, I use my phone to do all my filming now because I find that much easier to film the thing, put it into my desktop. And then like I told you, I use Sony Vegas. And then also you can use any other Windows software that is there on video editing. You just bring it into the timeline there. You can add in your titles. You can add in your subtitles. You can add in. Sorry.
How to reduce the file.
How to reduce the file size.
So you can. So you can do all it. Then you export it. Yes, I think I heard a voice saying about the file size of the video. I use a certain software to do compression. I don't have it with me right now. It's on my desktop in my other location. I use a certain file to do a compression. And in the initial stage, I struggled when I was uploading the videos to YouTube. It was taking me 8 hours to upload a 10-minute video, and I couldn't understand what was happening. It was only a 500 MB file. But then I was able to use a compressor and bring it down to about 200 MB, and the quality was remaining the same. And that was helpful because the quality was good. Then I was even able to bring even lower, smaller videos so that I can do it on WhatsApp and email. So compressors are available. You don't have to search for it. And I can WhatsApp that by tomorrow, not today, but by tomorrow I can answer the name of the compressor that I use to the host, and then they can share that name of the compressor. So for anyone who wants to compress their videos, they can use that. It's a free tool. There's no payment for that tool. You can just download it, run it. Are we good here?
Can we take one more question, please?
No problem.
Another person has asked, there was a talk that Zoom is not safe. Is it true?
Yes, there was a facility that did happen, like I mentioned in the beginning of my lecture. There were people who were coming in and hacking the system. And that is why we had the waiting room facility and the password, so that it stops hackers from just walking into it. And now, in the beginning, they said what encryption was there, but it was not there. But now they have been forced to encrypt the whole session. So now there's encryption also taking place. And if you were to go to onto your screen on your desktop and on your left, you can see that it says whether it's encrypted or not as well. So there are things that you can choose to have, but they say that it's encrypted. And on my screen is showing here a green shield with a tick on it saying you are using enhanced encryption. Now that is happening. Early it was not happening, but now it is happening. So security has been enhanced on Zoom now.
So can we
saying
find
this? Yes, just a minute. Saying this, yeah. I must warn you though. Any software hosted by anybody, the backend is open for it to be taken. Very sensitive data should not go on digital platforms. I'm not talking of Zoom only, I'm talking any other platform. Those who create softwares know that from the rear side, you can always get the information you want. So just be careful in what you share on your Zoom, on your WhatsApp, on your email. Anything digital going out can be taken and made use of. But those will be there. We have to understand that. But within the constraints, we can work a lot. We don't want hackers coming in, but those have been stopped. But there are constraints when you know that if you are careful, you can what you share out, you can be sure that you make your own safety on it.
So can we wind up?
Yes, you can. I'm done. If anybody else, all are okay with it, I'm good. I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you for giving your valuable sights on digital classroom, sir. I now request Mr. Franklin Jabaraj, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to propose a vote of thanks.
A very good morning to one and all. It's my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the Commerce Department of Bishop Appasamy College of Arts and Science. First of all, I would like to thank the Lord Almighty for made this program a successful one. And my heartfelt thanks to our guest speaker of today's session, Mr.Terryll Fernando. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and spare your valuable time to give us an informative and inspirational speech. Once again, I thank you very much, sir, for the way you explained the topic is exemplary. And I also want to thank the conveners and the organizing team of this program for their tireless efforts for making this program a successful one. Finally, I want to thank all the participants for their active participation in this program. Once again, I thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, bye everybody. Thank you for your time and thank you for the privilege of speaking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
You too.